when you install Premium Access on your system, you will get unlimited recording as an option inside. So now when I can go in and configure as many inputs or outputs as I want in here, it will now record all of them. I'm no longer limited to the 4 or 8 depending upon what my system has. If I set up 10 inputs and I have the performance to record 10 inputs, it will record 10 inputs. So we have basically removed the cap off of the recording capability, and the system can now record basically as many things as you want to try to set it up to do. I do want to take a moment, and for the unlimited recording, the system that is going to be best able to take advantage of this is going to be the VMC1 system, because it's got those 10 gig Ethernet ports on the back, and you could then hook that up to like Newtek remote storage or some other kind of NAS SAN solution and give you a lot of high speed, high performance storage that could be your target for recording in here. And if you really want to take advantage of this, that is the system that somebody should probably consider as their solution, because you're going to be able to set up a bunch of channels recording on it, because those 10 gig network ports give you a very high speed I/O in and out of that system to deal with the amount of data that we could be talking about in times here. All right, the next enhancement is non-standard aspect ratios, and I happen to have another system set up that's showing this feature right now. And so you can see in here that my video windows are no longer 16 by 9, they're now 9 by 16. They're vertical instead of being horizontal. And so you can now set this up in the system and work in this resolution if you wanted to. Now, just to kind of show you a few things in here, there are different layouts you can choose from for how many monitors you want displayed on the screen and stuff. So if you want more or less, you can do that. And when you go into an input, you can also tell it how you want that input configured. So you'll notice that on input 3, right, the one I'm pointing at right now, that is my SDI camera. Again, a 4K signal coming off of it through my Spark Plus, right, into the system. But the camera is still set up as normal, so it's actually extracting out of that 16 by 9 image, it's extracting out a 9 by 16. Maybe I've taken that camera and I've rotated it sideways, right? I want to take all the resolution of that 16 by 9 and I want to fit it into this 9 by 16 window. Can I do that? And the answer is yes, you can. You can go into your input settings here, and at the bottom of the window, there is a video tab. And if you open this up, you can then say, I'm rotating this camera. How much am I rotating it? So let's say I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And if you look in here now, you can see that in that input, I've now rotated that camera, and the entire 16 by 9 has been rotated into the 9 by 16. So if you physically mount your camera sideways, then this will give you the ability to work native resolution of that entire camera inside this window. But the nice thing is that if you have a mixture of sources, right, some that are standard aspect and some that are rotated aspect, as you can see, I can tell the system what needs to happen to make all of these things fit on the screen properly, and then start working with it. Now, I will say that for the most part, the system is intended to work in the aspect ratio you're intending. So if I'm working 9 by 16, then you'll see everything is set up for 9 by 16 output. And of course, the reverse if you're doing 6 by 9. There is also a square aspect ratio that's available in here as well. So if you wanted to just work in square aspect, that's also can be done. But there are some additional output settings that you can set in here that can help you deal with cases where you might have different monitors of, different orientations that you're working with in here. So when we go to our output settings and we take a closer look at this window, all right, you can see that under the resolution, right now, or rotation, I'm sorry, it says none. But I can go in here and now choose what kind of rotation is available on each output. So you can have the ability now that you can rotate, again, sources on the input to make them fit, or I can rotate sources on the output to make them fit, output type displays as well, depending on if they're oriented. So there's a lot of options in here. Admittedly, to really get the full workflow of this, you kind of need to set it up in the need of what the customer is looking for. So I'm just trying to give you an idea that these things are here and we've got all the different tools on there. As to exactly how you set all these things up, it really comes down to how are the cameras configured, how are the monitors configured, what is everything they're looking for to work in, and then that will help us determine which of these settings we're changing. Is it ins, is it out, is it a combination of the two? But as you can see, the options are available in all of those locations. One other thing that's also available, and I don't have set up to show this, but I just want to explain that it is there. There is also the ability to work in double wide and double tall resolutions. So if you wanted to run 2 HD displays side by side and treat it like a single canvas, whether it be vertical or horizontal, that is now also an option that's available, again, only on TC1 or VMC1 with premium access. If you do that, you will then have options at the bottom of this rotation where you can then take these individual outputs and define them as either a left monitor or a right monitor, so that you can then physically connect those things up and have, two SDI outputs that form a continuous display, whether it be 2 monitors side by side or 2 projectors side by side, to give you that kind of functionality in there. You can actually animate across them inside the system, because the system will treat it like a single canvas. This is just breaking those 2 canvases into the 2 HD frames that you need to work with on the output. So again, it's a really powerful enhancement you'll find in these model systems. There's even the ability to kind of set up some quad monitor stuff if you're looking to do stuff like that in here. And if you're running projectors that are set up for overlap mode, we even have an overlap option. This will overlap, I think, by about 10% or something like that. So there'll be a little bit of overlap you'll see between the left and the right sides, or the top and the bottom, depending upon how you set those up in there. So non-standard aspect ratio support. I know something that some people out there are really looking forward to, want to do vertical video, square video, double wide, double tall, all that kind of stuff. Now an option with premium access.